Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Hello, Max. Welcome.
Hey, Spags, how's that bicep doing?
Just the one? You don't want to know about both of them?
Both seps? Wait a minute.
They're forceps. Wait, right. Yeah, forceps. I can't hear you clap. I don't think you understand. You need to listen back to last episodes and then this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Your clap doesn't come through on the mic. I don't know what sort of gate is going on.
Yeah. I'm surprised that it's taken you 2 full episodes before you realize that I'm stopping right before my hands touch when I clap.
You haven't been clapping this whole time?
Sorry, I don't mean to freak you out, but
Now I can't tell. His superpower is stopping right before the clap.
what a terrible superpower.
More superpowers. Ready, go.
Not having to eat. Worst superpowers. I feel like people have I'll tell you one though I thought was really funny. I forget his name, but he was an X-Man and he had the ability to learn language really fast.
What could he talk to ants too? Is it just human language?
It was human language, anything written or spoken, and I forget what eventually they were like, I guess he can kind of do computer languages too. So then suddenly he was like computer.
Oh, that's a superpower. Okay, so
cool.
He was Mark Zuckerberg. Great.
But then
good superpower. Done.
He died in the field because he was like physically fighting, and everyone's like, it's not exactly your super forte. Yeah, I always thought that was super funny. Like, it's like your ability is to fly and then like you drown because you're underwater for too long. And you're like, yeah, dude, that's not your superpower. Like,
stop trying to talk to
his
fish.
Name? Cypher. That was his name.
That's stupid. A good name though. Wasn't that one of the American Gladiators too?
Oh my god, yeah. Turbo, Cypher, what was his name? Malibu. Did you watch the special on Netflix?
Nitro. I've been watching it. I only saw the first episode. Don't spoiler me.
Dude, I mean, it's not a spoiler. You know all the stuff that happens. We lived it, but it's crazy.
We actually lived it.
The stuff about Malibu is really crazy. Did you get that episode where he leaves?
No, I am not there yet. I got to the point where you kind of they plant the seed that he's kind of soft, that he can't handle getting jostled around the way. Yeah,
that was a generous way of putting. That was a nice, a pretty stupid way of putting it, frankly, because they had also just got through the segment where they were like, and we just had no idea what we were doing. We were just letting guys run into each other at a full speed with no pads
on cement.
On cement, and once in a while they'd get hurt, but whatever, it didn't really matter. And then it cuts to being like, and Malibu was soft. I could just tell that like he wasn't there to stay. And I'm like, you guys are idiots. That's what the problem is. You had no rule. You had no like baseline of safety protocols.
This feels a little bit like Total Fithead Games, though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but you need someone in charge. You need someone in charge to be like, okay, well, that's not safe, and not as like a part of the focus. Not like, all right, what's going to make the best TV?
What's going to make the fittest athlete? That's kind of like the first CrossFit Games. They were just in a field instead of in a soundstage.
Dude, the first CrossFit Games are so funny. My favorite ones are watching the cleans, because they're just in a circle. Like now they made it so it looks like a race. So you clean this. I think we talked about this before. You clean this, then you move on to the next one. You clean that, you move on to the next one, and it's clear like this guy is in the lead or this guy's whatever. The first ones, they're doing cleans and like there's just barbells sort of in a circle and plates everywhere. And then they drop it and it like bounces sort of like towards the crowd and everyone's like, ah! And they're like, no, it's fine, he's got it. And then like, you fail a clean and the bar just goes flying and you're like, Dude, this is a mess. It's like watching those first UFC fight, the MMA fights, the octagon ones. Do you ever seen those?
No, that sounds
Holy,
terrifying.
they're crazy because nobody knows what they're doing. They don't have any real rules. They're just like, here we go. No
What
nut shots. That's
year was
about
this?
it.
Do you know? Yeah.
Early 2000s, I think. Maybe 90s.
Can we get away with that kind of stuff anymore?
I don't think so. But like I remember one of the first fights was like a French kickboxer, tall, skinny dude, against like a big, I want to say sumo, but he might have just been like a giant dude, big, heavy guy. And you're like, this is nuts. I have no idea what's gonna happen. And the French kickboxer like kicked the other guy in the face or like in the stomach, and he took a knee, and then he just wind up and whacked him right in the mouth. And then the big guy like spit out a bunch of teeth, and they were like, "All right, we're done. We're done. I don't know what just happened, but it's over." It's just like messy, and you need that time to figure out like, okay, mouth guards. Everybody wear a mouth guard, or gloves. We need gloves, or like you can't wear shoes. This guy's wearing sneakers. You can't wear sneakers. And, like it was just a mess. Half the time, guys would wear a gi, and the other guy would. It was just not. There's just no. There's like no uniform rules or regulations or whatever. It was crazy. It was really messed up. But it was fun to
just
watch.
figuring it out. Yeah.
Watched on VHS a million times with my uncle.
Jeez. So do we feel like that stuff's not going to happen anymore because the regulations exist and we're trying not to hurt people? Is there still room for figuring it out at the expense of someone's safety? No, probably not.
Well, I hope not. I mean, it's not a great look.
No.
And I'd be really mad if I would be upset if I was in charge of the game of the first UFC fight and some guy lost all his teeth. I would feel like a real dumb idiot.
Well, it's crazy that we have 3 examples of this, right? When we started talking about American Gladiators, I just think, oh, that's a weird anomaly that sort of happened. And then we had CrossFit Games, and you were like, UFC. Ugh.
Yeah. Sure, the first NFL games were crazy. They're just like the hockey. They used to like, remember they used to be like, you're wearing a helmet, you little loser.
Yeah, I can't see with a mask. I'm just not as good.
Right.
There's still guys that play with just like
just a visor.
this.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't understand it at all.
I guess if you have fast enough reaction time, I saw a cat knock a rattlesnake out of its own face. And then
I saw that the other day.
Yes, we got the same TikTok or whatever it was. And they showed the reaction time for this animal and that animal, and it's 0.002 seconds faster for the cat. So the cat's always going to knock the rattlesnake out of its face. It sees the rattlesnake move and can knock it out of the way in time. How insane.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's scary.
I mean, I don't know what the human reaction times are, but mine's on the lower end. It's got to be a spectrum.
Yeah, I'm not cat-like reflex. I'm like...
Well, that's why they use that term. They don't say snake-like. They say cat-like. What?
They don't say human-like.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like when you knock a plate off the table and grab it in time.
I like those when people grab stuff and they think that they're Spider-Man. Have you ever seen those TikToks?
No.
They'll be like carrying a bunch of like a huge stack of something, and one of them falls off the top, and without looking, they just like reach their hand back and like catch it in midair, and then they're like, oh, and then they put it down. What they do is they put it down, and then they make the Spider-Man thing to be like, am I? Oh no,
Spider-Man. Like you just discovered it. That was really funny.
Yeah.
I once did a clean with an energy drink on. No, it was a front squat. That's it. With an energy drink sitting on the bumper plate.
Yeah.
And then threw it up off of my shoulders and grabbed the energy drink out of the air as it's spraying and drank it.
Wow.
That was take 17. So with enough effort,
So
I
you're
have
16 energy
reflexes.
drinks in?
Yeah.
That's how much caffeine you needed to make it happen?
Yeah. It's still sticky on the floor at my gym. I've never been able to recover.
What did I do? I shotgunned one of those mini kegs once. That was really fun.
Oh yeah.
I
I
took an
saw
axe
that.
to
I
the
hate
side
that
of
the
it,
footage looks like it's from a flip phone. When did you do that?
like 2016, and Brittany was filming and she didn't do it. The settings weren't there. I don't know. It was a mess up. I think it was on like an early iPhone, which was pretty crappy.
But
We
also
could try it
adds to
again if
the
you want.
lore feel of it,
Yeah,
like your
it's true.
origin story or
I should have been in black and white. It should have
yeah.
been a silent film.
It's a
You know,
talking
I do it,
and
and
I'm
it's the
playing
thing in
a
front. Be like,
rag behind you.
"Wow, what a crazy beer that was!"
I say.
Capital.
Could we do it with a keg?
No. Well, not really. You really have to puncture the keg.
Right. I'm
So
saying
like,
we'll do this
I
on my art
used
channel.
I
This will
used
be
a
an engineering
hatchet.
feat. Okay.
I bet. I guess if you get a full size axe and you put the keg on its side and like really lean into
You
it,
think an
then yeah.
axe? I was thinking some sort of robotic drill, and it also assists you to lift it. So it's kind of a machine that helps you shotgun a full size keg, lifts it up. You have your hand there. It still looks like you're doing it with the robot assist, and then it comes in with the drill, and then you take it to the face.
Uh, you can try it. You'll have to call MIT or Caltech or whatever. Get some engineers on the line. Hey, important question here. Can you guys help me make a robot to assist shotgunning a keg? And they're like, sorry, who is this? We handle space rockets. And you're like, it's for
Allie, I love your
YouTube.
channel. Of course. We've been waiting for you to call.
Well, Spags. Yeah.
Oh, you
I
asked about my
shotgun
one bicep earlier. Oh, go ahead.
I shotgunned a Foster's once in reality. That sucked. Like those big fat cans.
The Australian for bear.
Not only did it suck because it
Boy,
was a ton of beer, it was so bad. You ever had a Foster's? They're
I've heard
so
it
bad.
is the Australian for Bud Light, not the Australian for beer.
I've heard that a lot for other. This is the Bud Light of blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and I think that varies quite a bit. Bud Light to me doesn't have a crazy taste. Foster's had a serious taste of like dirt in my beer.
Mm. Upside down dirt.
I said that. Yeah, it was so bad, and I'm shotgunning, and it's taken me a second, so I have a moment to think. Usually, you shotgun a beer, you're just like you do it, and you're like, oh, it's over. That was crazy.
20 years later.
I'm shotgunning this Foster's. I'm like, oh god, this is awful. Do I even want to? Yeah, just keep doing it. Just keep going. Figure it out. It was bad. I didn't
How many
have that.
ounces is it?
I don't know. It was one of those fat cans.
Yeah, they're big. I mean, they look cool.
25
25-ounce cans. Oh, yeah.
Gross.
Oh, God. That's 2 beers plus 1 ounce. It's a beer and a shot of beer.
Yeah. I was around some
Shotgun that.
degenerate idiot drinkers for that weekend that I was doing that. We would also play beer pong with metal cups, which was like the hardest game I've ever played.
They just
Because
kept
it's a
bouncing
ping
off.
pong ball, And so every once in a while, like there's a little bit of give in the plastic cup or whatever, or there's not a lot of beer. It'll sort of like a gentler rim. But the metal cup, these ping pong balls were just bouncing everywhere. You had to like sky it. You had to throw it way up in the air and have it come almost
To get a
straight
swish
exactly
every
down.
time.
Yeah, it was
I'm
bad.
sure juggling Josh could do it.
I don't know. I wonder if sometimes I'm very impressed with his I'm very impressed with his juggling skills. Period. Full stop. His trick shot skills, I'm like, what take is this? I
Oh,
do
right.
want to know that.
Like my energy drink shot. I feel like, because there have been several ones I watched where he's like, that was the first take. He'll say it in the video. I don't think he's lying about those ones.
I believe him, but they're not all like that.
And there are so many where he'll have a kid and then someone else that does a TikTok channel and then an absolute moron. And then he goes and he's always the anchor, the last person, because they know that he's going to get it every time.
Guy. I know.
He is the Spider-Man of our universe. I don't know if he's ever done this. He shouldn't, because he'd realize it.
Web his old warehouse up. I did ask about your bicep. How you feeling?
Oh, fine. I wanted to ask you about, because you said, how's your one bicep? Do you have a bigger one than another one?
Oh, like a bigger ball, you mean?
Is that a common thing too? Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, big time. And bigger boobs or left is usually bigger I definitely than right, isn't it? Because your heart is on the. Wait, is that backwards?
Yeah. I think my right's smaller.
I thought that women
it has to do with your heart?
had a bigger boob because of their heart. I guess I should be asking you. But a lot of guys have one bigger ball and certainly one ball that hangs lower than the other ball. But I'm also
and certainly we know from ZozoFit our biceps are different sizes. Oh wait, I think my left's bigger, but I bet I'm wrong. I always flex left. ZozoFit's got to scan your balls now, so we know how off.
It's normal for guys to have one testicle a little bit bigger than the other. Normal size difference is about a half a teaspoon. That's stupid. Usually the right is bigger than the left.
The unit of measurement of balls is teaspoon.
It should be ball.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually the right is larger than the left testicle. Now, what about one larger boob? This is my Google search history. It's terrible. Breast asymmetry is very common and affects more than half of all women.
Affects? What is it, like a disease? Get out.
Well, they're saying they're saying breast asymmetry is what I'm Googling.
Number of reasons they're wrong.
Why? Blah blah blah. But it's also your breast tissue can change when you're ovulating, blah, blah. So there's more than just it can change for more than one reason. But
yeah, for bench pressing.
I don't think the heart thing has anything.
Boobs.
That's why you bounce them off the chest. Mm-hmm. That's why the barbell is way easier than the dumbbell.
Why do I feel like I've seen an old-timey video where the women were going, we must increase our bust. I definitely didn't make that up.
No, I also know that. It feels like some Suzanne Summers style.
Oh,
stuff.
I was thinking 40s. Back when we didn't know that you can't work out to increase your bust.
Now, what is bust? Is that your rib line?
It's the largest. Whatever the biggest spot. Biggest so for you it would be belly button.
Right. It would be forehead, I think.
Because you're so freaking smart.
Right.
So my right is 12 inches and my left is 11.6 inches. Not boobs. We're talking about biceps here.
Biceps. Did you just look it up?
Yeah, I looked on ZozoFit. Right. For anyone who hasn't heard us rant about ZozoFit, it's a suit that's your phone has an app that scans your body and tells you exactly the size that you are, how much body fat you've gained or lost. Tells me how successful my bulk is.
Oh, darn it. I'm still on centimeters. How do you turn it back?
Go to your profile.
I'm in my profile.
Change it from imperial metric to imperial. Imperial. Yes, please.
Imperial.
Inches. Imperial.
Okay. Man,
But
my
I always
arms are
flex my left because I feel like it's bigger. But it turns out my right is bigger. That sucks.
that does suck. 14 and a half biceps. Not great, actually. Pretty
What?
weak.
That's a whole inch and a half bigger than me.
Yeah, but it should be like
No,
37.
2.5 inches bigger than me. Whoa.
Well, I will say my bicep doesn't have any sort of.
Did you just fake clap again?
God, you're so bad.
What the heck? I can't tell. Ugh. Ugh. I feel bad for the people listening on audio. Was that a clap?
No, it was not a clap. I'm pretending to clap. Allie's watching me in the Zoom, and she can't tell that I'm not making a sound.
How would you just in the middle of conversation pretend to clap?
La.
Wait, the first one, your la cut out. Was the first one a real clap? I am
First one
going
was.
freaking nuts. Okay. Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm saying I like your ink, Spags. I'm digging it.
Oh, thanks.
Are
Yes,
you
for
getting a lot of
all
compliments on?
our audio listeners, I now have a bicep tattoo on my bicep. It's a tattoo of a bicep on my bicep. Guess who came up with that idea?
It's the most meathead tattoo I could possibly imagine. Now, in fairness, my alternative option was. Do you remember?
The Pittsburgh skyline as a front tramp stamp. Yeah, I remember. So this seems great. It's like, of course I'll clean my house because all the other things I have to do are that crappy.
Right, of course. Are you getting a lot of compliments on your tattoo? How are you feeling about it?
It's concerning when I look in the mirror at the gym and think people think I'm serious about this. Because maybe not at the gym. You could understand that I'm in on the joke and I'm joking, but when I am pumping iron, it does not look like I am not taking myself seriously with my bicep tattoo on my bicep.
Right. In fact, I would say the opposite. If you're taking yourself extremely seriously.
Yeah.
It does look great.
Thanks.
How did you when's the last time we talked about this? Have we said what happened?
I don't think that we've spoken about the culmination. I did release a video telling the whole 1 year, 6 months, and 25-day story.
Right. Okay.
But we haven't talked about it on the podcast. No.
So let's just do a quick recap.
Yes, let's.
Just to set the record straight. You were trying to do a muscle up. You were very close. I said, how about we come up with an idea to give you a little bit of a sense of urgency or something, a concrete deadline so you can achieve it by something you can work towards, specific time, a SMART goal, specific, measurable.
Okay, this layer of storytelling added on top of what actual happened feels off.
Really? Is that not what happened?
No.
What do you mean?
Well, I too thought I was close, but it turns out I could get much closer and closer and closer and still not get it. So I wasn't close. And also, you weren't like, let me just give you a little nudge. You said, get a muscle up in 2022 or I get to tattoo you. Perhaps what was going on in your brain was this friendly nudge.
Yup.
Thanks.
So then
for that.
So honestly, we both thought you were about a month away. We didn't know, but we both thought you were.
I thought I'd get it in December. I thought for sure it would take me a while. I knew how much effort I needed left. No, I didn't actually. I knew, air quotes, it was going to be a decent amount of effort to get there, but I could do it in that year. It seemed like a reasonable challenge.
It was pretty reasonable that I gave
you. To you, it felt like an easy challenge. You thought it would be a month. I thought it would be reasonable, not easy.
Since we're calling each other on our own BS,
yeah.
Did I or did I not say to you that one issue you may come across is overtraining?
I may have to look back at the tapes to confirm or deny. That being said,
it's my one I feel like I remember telling you that my one warning was, I know you're a bit of an overtrainer, don't hurt yourself by getting impatient. And you were like, yeah, no way. Shut up.
I don't know if this is 2020 hindsight or perhaps you did say that, but
I tried to tell you not to overtrain. You overtrained. You hurt yourself. Then you lost about 6-8 months or whatever, right? 12 months. You lost about.
Yeah, I lost the full year to my injury. No, it was more like, man, I'd have to look for sure. Because I kept re-injuring myself, right? I took 6 weeks off, but I didn't really
you injured yourself overtraining, and then you
didn't
actually wait for yourself to heal. Kind of like
exactly
what I just said to you. Yeah. Okay.
So I can't say that I took. Yeah, I was compromised for a solid number of months.
Right. Something completely out of your control. Oh, no, wait. It was completely in your control. Okay.
Oh. No, because if I had the correct data, then I could act upon it. But who knows when you've gone too far?
Sure. Not you. So anyway, you overtrained, you hurt yourself, you lost some time, you didn't let yourself rest, you let blah, 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 blah. Long story long, a year after we made the bet, you had it set up, right? You had a scheduled attempt on that last.
I had been attempting weekly throughout December, but then specifically December 31st, it was my last day. I'd rested 5 days in a row. I was, I had tapered to fully prime. I didn't eat Christmas dinner, because I didn't want to have Christmas dinner on my body to get over the rings. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but I certainly kept an eye on being svelte so that I could get this gymnastic maneuver for the bet.
Sure. And how close?
December
you got incredibly close.
Yeah. Incredibly close. But now I have a tattoo. A really stupid tattoo that you chose.
So then I remember you showed me the video on New Year's Eve, and I thought you were going to show me that I got this video. I really did.
Yeah.
And then it took you another 6 months after that before you got it?
Oh, yeah. So then I kept working on it for 6 months and 25 days, and I got it.
So we really undershot.
We did.
I thought it'd be like a month, 2 tops, and it was almost a year and 7 months, or a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Which makes me think, well, if doing things takes so long, I should be more thoughtful about the things that I do, because I only have such a limited life. Like, I didn't pick astronaut because I could do it, but it would take a lot of time.
Yeah, it's too bad. You're the perfect height for an astronaut. They're gotta be so scrawny. Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah, I remember watching some movie where the guy was trying to compress his spine because he was so close. Was it?
I don't know, but I think it's 6 feet. You definitely can't be over 6 feet as a guy. Maybe 5'10". I don't remember, but it's a weird, like, it's one of those weird, like, oh yeah, oh, you're colorblind, you can't be an astronaut. And I'm like, yeah, it's because of the colorblind thing, not because of the, like, failed 9th grade physics thing, like like gets seasick on a ferry boat ride in Rhode Island thing, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're right. It's the colorblind.
It's the colorblind that cuts you off. Yeah, that was in Outliers. They specifically talked about becoming an astronaut, and that there are so many almost perfectly qualified people in this big pool, and then there are perfectly qualified people, and then there's still just the one lucky person out of the 10 that are perfectly qualified that get it, and that it's completely out of your control or not. There's so much luck that goes into it. That might not even have been Outliers. I don't know what it's from. Citing my sources here.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, we have a finite amount of time on Earth, and if we could live forever, I could just do everything, and I would be a virtuoso pianist that goes to space and can do a muscle up. But this endeavor just hammered home that it is really important that the fact that we die is the reason that anything matters.
Every moment counts. Remember, you're going to die.
Memento, what is it?
Mori. Mori. Which I think is it's Latin's tough, but I think it translates to remember you must die. Which is a bit of a weird translation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. I think really it's remember you die. Latin's one of those ones.
I don't know.
Like, no, that's actually what they mean. And you're like, no, it's not, dude. There's no it's too tricky for that. Don't get it, my.
Well, tell Dave Asprey that.
Davey.
Some people think we don't have to must.
Yeah, well, check in with me in 100 years and we'll see what happens. Hey, Davey.
Will be uploaded into the Matrix, except it's a copy and the original was deleted. Oh.
I know. That's a bummer. I will say, ever since I told you that, and you said that ruined your day.
Day? You mean life?
Well, what I'm about to say might ruin it even more. In theory, your last thought, if you were going to be if your brain was going to be downloaded, there's a popular theory that in reality it's just copied and then recreated over there, and then the original is deleted. So in reality, you die, and your copy lives on with no awareness that he's a copy because he's a perfect copy, and his last memory was getting copied. Now, that could potentially happen every time you go to sleep. You know what I mean?
What?
I was thinking about that when I was falling asleep.
And then you just shudder awake.
And you're like, wait a minute. Not today.
So it could have already happened.
Could have happened a million times. Could have happened.
Well, is it already happening, right? That whole idea that we're all pulled from the same Earth stuff, and that. Yeah, so then I am just a copy of someone who doesn't remember, so I'm not really that person, but I am that person, and your continued consciousness is a lie, and
right,
or not a lie.
I guess what would be fun
very real right now.
What would be fun is if it wasn't instantaneous, your old self and your new, like, if the copy process and delete of the old and creation of the new, if there was a little bit of an overlap, and as you're dying you had to be like, oh man, I put some milk in the fridge, I messed up, it's actually expired, don't drink that. All right, I'll see you. Like you give your new guy last minute instructions. I think that would be pretty interesting, but kind of a bummer.
Would you still do it?
What if you had no choice?
No, you have in the scenario that I'm putting in my fake head that is someone else's consciousness, you either decide to continue this other life form that is a copy of you or not. Would you do it?
Well, I don't know. Probably not. I assume every living being would be selfish enough to want to stay alive. But what if you had no choice and you?
But it doesn't feel like me. It just feels like someone that looks like me that lived my life.
Well, I'm saying, like, in my example, and it happens every night when you fall asleep. What if you try to stay awake for as long as you can, but you can't?
Oh, so why should I rob that person that looks like me of life?
Well, like you won't get to live. You can't. You're gonna die anyway. Yeah.
Right. So then why try and continue a copy that isn't you? It feels trite.
I don't know. It's getting pretty philosophically deep.
How connected does it feel to having a kid? Is that just
Oh,
making a
good
copy of you
question.
that you can say, hey, don't drink the milk? Because that's like your job for at least 18 years is to tell them don't drink expired milk.
Right. Kids, that's all they do. I don't know. I mean, I think it must be weird to see a small version that has some of your physical and personality traits, because it's not
Yeah.
a copy, but it's a blend of two people theoretically,
And other Stardust.
another Stardust. Yeah. The copy, I don't know. I don't have any kids. You don't have any kids. Maybe, maybe we're not
I think people that have kids would more likely say, yeah, I'll can make a copy of me and keep them going because that's basically having a kid. And I'm sitting here being like, why would I have
never.
kids? Why would I replicate myself and continue?
I'll just keep all the good stuff for me.
I'll
Why
just
am I
be
giving?
dead. Who cares? Do
No.
you get that sense that you want to create something lasting after your lifetime that resonates through culture?
No.
That not yeah, I don't get that either. But there are people that feel strongly about that. They're like, when
Oh,
I'm gone,
big
my
time.
legacy will blah blah blah. And I'm like, you're dead. Who cares?
Your name only lives on for as long as anyone remembers you. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's who cares? What are you
Yeah,
talking about? That's not even
yeah.
a thing.
Good for you and your name while you're in the ground. Who
Everyone's
cares?
gonna remember you, John Smith, like
But
Michael
people are really
Jordan.
motivated by that. Yeah,
No.
exactly. I just
And
can't wrap
then
my head around it, but I get that people for sure feel that. I wonder what it is, what that chemical is. What let's ask a DNA company what do I need to turn on in my DNA to give a crap about my legacy?
feels like narcissism. A healthy,
I am
a
full
healthy
on
smattering.
turned all the way up to 11 narcissism, and I still recognize that I'm dead and who cares what happens after.
Yeah, I guess your logic outweighs your narcissist. I don't know.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Thanks. It's people that are narcissistic without logic. That's the one that
That's the
becomes
problem.
the legacy. I mean, is it a problem? Then maybe they create great work. The people that have made stuff that resonate through culture, they needed that DNA change to.
Maybe some people needed it. I would argue that a lot of the great artists, for example, I don't think that it doesn't feel like an overwhelming majority of them were plagued by wanting their name to live on forever. That feels more like a political aspiration or a conquer the world kind of aspiration. Artists to me feel like I had this idea in my brain, I got to get it out. I'm gonna explode, and then oops, it just so happens that a billion other people resonate with that exact same idea, and they're like, thanks for putting this idea into words. I felt this forever. I just couldn't describe it accurately, but you did. Thanks.
That's how I
That's
feel when
my
you make sketches
romantic
on
idea of
TikTok.
artist. Yeah, thanks. Exactly. Yes.
Contemporary art.
I just made
Yeah.
this incredibly mean TikTok and I felt kind of bad about it, but I also don't. Have you ever seen the show called Suits?
No.
It's a great show. It's about lawyers. It's a great show, but it's like a TBS TNT level show. It's nothing crazy. But anyway,
I don't know what that means. What streaming service is that?
well now it's on Netflix. It used to be on Hulu, but well, I don't know. Whatever. But it's like a medium to low quality. It's not like doesn't
Low,
have
yeah, okay.
gravitas the way Game of Thrones used to have gravitas. This was like a weekly, like, oh, let's see what shenanigans the boys get into this week. It was like
Okay.
that type of a show. Anyway, this girl makes a TikTok about like this is how normal lawyers, when they're handed a file, this is what happens. And she opens it and she looks at it for a while and she reads it, and then the other person is like, just like waiting for him to read, and she spends like 30 seconds reading the document, and then she closes it and she's like, I think this is a really good idea, and that's normal. And then she goes, and then this is how they do it on Suits. And he hands him the file, and the guy opens the file and looks at it for 1/2 of 1 second and goes, closes it. This is a great idea. This is going to solve all of our problems. And she's like, isn't that funny? And then I made this response that was like, yeah, you dumb idiot. That's because it's a show. Like, do you want to watch someone silently read a file in their head while God. You just like look at them? What are you supposed to, And then I go, yeah. And I mean, that's what you want. I mean, and why don't we do more real? Like, why can't I watch them sleep for like 7 or 8 hours a night? Like,
why don't people leave scenes to go to the bathroom? I pee all the time.
I know, right? It's crazy. Let's see them clip their fingernails, and I closed it with, I called her the effing idiot, like effing moron, I think. And I said it, I couldn't stop myself from saying it. It was one of those, my Massachusetts was showing a little bit, like it's really, and I tried to like cut myself off, but I was like, okay, it's just but then I did it. And then I posted it because I was like, you're an idiot. That was a dumb thing for you to say. Like, I like your attempt at Seinfeld observational humor or whatever, but like take a step further. Think about it. Just turn your brain on and think about it for a moment. But then I felt kind of bad about it afterwards because I was like, oh, this girl's just some girl. She's not a comedian by trade. She's not I don't know. I felt kind of bad about it because I was like, she just had a funny observation that was dumb, but she's not a full-time comedian, I guess. But
so you're saying it'd be acceptable to roast a full-time comedian because they get paid to do that? Funny.
Yeah, and they spend all their time trying to do that, and they've spent one iteration of thought thinking about it. Whereas this is just some girl who watched an episode of Suits and was like, that's funny. I don't read that fast. And I just like roasted her, and I felt
Plot
kind of
twist,
bad. I didn't.
She did this as bait for you to roast her.
Moo, I like that too. Hopefully the joke's on me.
Did you post it?
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you in a bit. It was just
did it perform? Did people see it?
No, I don't know, because it was a response. It was a stitch. And
that's tough. There's a world where it goes insane, and then she gets roasted by millions of other people.
And then she becomes a competent artist, and she chases her dreams. And her name lives on forever.
Comment. You changed the world with a mean comment. I wonder if all the mean commenters are just trying to help.
Right? Oh, why didn't you think of this? It's probably because you're a chick.
Yeah.
I've done that before, actually, and I didn't feel bad at all. And it was because this was a podcast, and they were talking about a movie called Crazy Stupid Love. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
With Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell and Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Steve Carell gets divorced, and he starts going to the singles bar, and he meets Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Gosling teaches him how to like find girls. That's like the first half of the movie. And they go, and so anyway, this podcast is talking about the movie, and they're like, I just found it funny. Like, isn't it weird that like Ryan Gosling is always at the same bar, like picking up girls? Like, isn't that insane? Like, wouldn't he go to another bar? And I did a response that was like, hey, dummy, it's a story. And they're trying to explain to you that this guy's at a bar picking up girls. And this is like a storytelling. Like, this is it's just a way to tell a story without explaining to you the same thing over and over and over again. So you don't have to start from the beginning every time you're telling the story. Like, now you're in the, and I ripped into him. And then Brittany, I showed the draft, and she was like, why don't you say that, but nicer? And I was like, ugh. And so then I said it better, and I was like, I think what I said was something like, I I found it a lot nicer when I let go of all those nitpicky storytelling things where I said, I stopped saying actually at like a mechanic in a story because I realized it's a story. And the reason that they're doing it that way is because it's a movie and not real life, and because it's a shorthand version of telling these stories.
Right.
And
Shorthand
it just
version of
didn't
real
feel
life.
as good
Yeah.
at all. That's the
Yep.
bottom line. Is it didn't feel good in the slightest. I wanted to yell at them, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is that even useful at that point? I mean, the use in the beginning is to just get your anger out. Do you really
yeah,
need to help? Ugh.
I don't know. Well, I guess the use is like I should be able to get my anger out and not have to post it. That's what I should really be aspiring to.
Just
You
a,
know?
a private TikTok.
Yeah, one follower. I'll send it
No
to
one
you.
sees. Yeah, I would absolutely watch all of those. Thank you.
Super fan. But yeah, it's all this like actually and like nitpicky stuff in movies. And I'm like, man, who care? The answer to that question is it's a movie and who cares? You
I know.
know?
There's even a term for it. It's called suspension of disbelief. Just keep watching.
Yeah. There's another term, the rule of cool. Why did that happen? Because it's cool, man, and it's in a movie, and it doesn't have to be
No.
your boring trash life. Like, yeah, I want to see a guy drive a car off a cliff, land onto a boat, and have that boat shoot a missile at Godzilla. Like, that sounds great. You know what I mean? That's a fun
Do
afternoon
that.
for me. They're like, well, the physics of it, that would never, I'm like, ugh.
Do you think it's because movie studios and writers and directors and whatever are trying to get more realistic that they're setting those expectations that Ryan Gosling does train to be a boxer for a year before he acts as a boxer because we're trying to get to more realism?
I don't know what it is. I think them training is to look real and to represent, if it's a real group of people, like military people, and if there's a military guy in the movie, you want him to look competent because it's a nice reflection on their skills or whatever. You want him to be able to reload a rifle without looking or not looking like an idiot or whatever.
So where do you draw the line?
Right? I don't know. I mean, is that a trash representation of Batman? I'm like, well, I'm not insulting the real Batman.
Unrealistic Batman.
Yeah,
I would never.
it's just I guess what I get tired of is this like general need or infatuation that people have with pointing pointing out a detail that will uh, like taint the rest of the movie, or really like show how smart that person is that's
Yeah.
pointing out the detail. That's
Every meme
really what it
comment is
feels like
just
to me. And I'm like, I don't
building that
care,
person.
man. Yeah, I don't know. It's trash.
Everyone's just trying to feel smart. What I saw some comic, I wish I knew who had written it or whatever it was, but I think about it all the time that there was like somebody shouting from the other room, honey, come to bed. And the guy's at his computer, he's like, I can't sleep. Somebody on the internet is wrong. And how many people are out there that are just like, yeah, I need to go correct.
I need to. Yeah, exactly. Well, what does that need? Where does that come from?
Yeah, the need to feel important to have a legacy. My legacy is
Right.
correcting people in my comments that will last
Right.
forever.
My legacy is telling Scorsese why he messed up the pool table scene in the
Unrealistic. Yeah.
in his ninth gangster movie or whatever.
Surprised I didn't get any form corrections on my first ever muscle up.
What do you mean? From who? No one corrected you at all? Everyone is excited?
Not yet. But if it gets more reach, well, actually,
Actually, you should be able to do it. You're like, oh, great, man. Thanks a bunch. It's the actually crowd. I think that's what I don't like. Actually. And I've been guilty of it myself. I think we all have. But it's certainly something I'm
Never.
trying.
Actually, I've never. So.
Actually, I never will. So.
So.
And they push up their glasses that they're not wearing. But
so do we need more of it or less? Do we welcome?
I don't know.
No.
I think we need an appropriate amount. Because I will say that there's a lot of inflammatory headline where, right now the world is at the mercy of these inflammatory headlines that get people real riled up. And actually they're kind of dumb because they're just trying to get your eyeballs for clicks, and that's fine for entertainment, but not for news or. So
it's not even fine for entertainment. It's messing with our nervous system.
I know, it's really bad.
But we benefit from it. I certainly.
You and I do.
Think about how well we can click. Yeah, right. Sorry. The people doing it are doing it because they make money on it.
Right.
But collectively as a whole.
It does feel bad. It does. And on an individual level, I can tell the mornings when I look at my phone right away, look at TikTok right away, look at whatever right away, versus the mornings where I like get out of bed and brush my teeth and like go for a walk or walk the dog or whatever before I start phone ADDing myself. Like it definitely, it trends,
Really?
I can stay sort of focused, or I can stay not doom scrolling for longer, and versus the days when I start right away, then I'm just like, whatever, short-term goal. I want I want an iced coffee. I better run to Starbucks, or like, versus I have coffee at home. I can make a fine cup myself. It'll just take 5 minutes of effort. You know what I mean? It's
interesting.
Yeah, I can tell on it.
Yeah.
Not
the change
not a ton,
in state,
obviously, but yeah, like lunchtime will come around, and on some days I'll be like, wow, I've been getting a lot done, and some days I'll be like, oh gosh, it's 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't done anything. I just got out of bed. It's like it's just lost.
And it's directly related to exposing yourself to that.
I think so. I'm sure there's other factors, but if I was
you spent all morning make a response video to that idiot.
I know. I fell into it. I feel like guilty about it, but not. But I feel guilty about it without being wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel guilty that I had to do it and say it. I don't feel wrong. I in my conviction, I still agree with what I said 100,000,000%, but I feel guilty that I had to say it.
Is it that we're in a world where you feel a way and then you just don't say it? That's like the anti-artist, right? You're not putting that out there so that other people can relate to it. You withhold your art because it will affect people instead of.
Well, what if instead of thinking of it as withholding your art, what if you're distilling it? I have a lot of thoughts that I can express in an artistic way, but maybe I should wait till I find a thought that's valuable enough to express.
I'm just imagining you get up and start painting your feelings instead of response commenting to her.
But it would be a portrait of me filming a TikTok. You know what I
mean? Yeah, I want that painting. It resonates with me as a person, as a whole. Please let me purchase. What gallery can I go buy it from?
I'll just commission it from you.
It's getting very recursive.
Or no, I'll get an AI artist to create a style in your style. Oh boy. Now we're getting real wonky.
Oh boy. So what have we learned? We have a finite amount of time on the planet, and you should spend it getting a muscle up or commenting to strangers. I don't know, honestly. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna.
I think the muscle up is probably a little bit more valuable.
Why?
Because you can look cool doing it. I can't look cool making fun of some dumb girl on TikTok for how dumb she is.
You definitely can, especially because that has the potential to reach a lot more people.
It was so like I did it and I felt good about it, but I felt so bad for how good I felt about it. Does that make sense?
Too. Mm-hmm.
Like I loved it and I felt great about it, and then I was so guilty for feeling good about it, which is such a weird. That's a mind pretzel. You know what I mean? That one.
I'm impressed you're able to hold both of those simultaneously.
I know, and neither one of them overpowered the other. You know,
and you're aware of it.
And I'm aware of it. Oh, I gotta take a nap.
If you can rate a review on Apple Podcasts, that helps us out a whole lot, and we will see you next week.